So the College Football 25 team just released the first video with actual gameplay, and we're just going to hop straight into what they went over in the video. Kirk Herbstreit was commentating over it, and then they released a major article, very long. We won't go over everything in that article because it is very long. Go and check it out. Go check out the gameplay footage as well, and both of those will be in the description. But we are going to go over the top 10 things I noted in that article and the gameplay, and we are going to base this off of the article. So first, number one, we already knew this was in the game, but they went into detail on the new wear and tear system. As you know, obviously you take hits in the game and your body just deteriorates. So let's just talk about what they went over in the article. Changing the game. With these changes, wear and tear will add new depths to the player's gameplay more than ever before. Up until now, aside from the risks of throwing interception or fumbling, what has been the impacts of throwing the ball 40 to 50 times a game, now gameplay decisions come with physical consequences for your virtual players. Skipping ahead a little bit here, with the introduction of wear and tear, fatigue has been completely overhauled, whereas wear and tear accounts for physical impacts. Fatigue is primarily a conditioning feature designed to provide more realistic snap counts at the college level. It's something to pay attention to on a drive-by-drive basis. Let's just say a running back gets 3 consecutive carries for positive yards. You may notice them huffing and puffing. On a subsequent carry, they'll likely come out of the game. However, recovery has been changed to where it'll likely be only a single play, so they can catch their breath and get right back onto the field. So this is pretty much a breath of fresh air in my opinion, because if you think about how the college game works, there are just a lot of running backs, for example, that get carries. I mean, look at Wisconsin, look at these big schools, like the ones that probably don't use the workhorses like Alabama, but even Alabama, they use like 3 running backs, even 4 running backs a game sometimes. Wisconsin definitely does it. They're like one of the, RBUs, running back U's. Look at receivers. There's so many receivers on a roster. Not saying all of them get playing time, but you do see like the 5th stringers and even the 6th stringers getting in, some special teamers getting in. You see a lot of substitutions that happen throughout the course of a game. So seeing that in this game is definitely really dope, especially with this wear and tear system, where if you get banged up, let's just say, for example, the quarterback gets hit while he is throwing the football, which they highlighted in the gameplay video. If he keeps taking hits, actually getting rid of the football, his ratings are going to decrease as far as throw power and accuracy, and then damage to the legs may affect the player's direction and acceleration, things like that. Like, there will definitely be a target on players' backs now, because now if you bang up a quarterback, let's just say you hit him pretty good, you see that his health is deteriorating or whatever the case is, you may have to protect him, or if you're on the defensive side of the ball, you may have to try to send some more blitzes to kind of not necessarily knock him out of the game, but at least slow him down. Maybe you knock out some of his throw power, so maybe he can't throw down the football field, or even knock his confidence down. So we will get into that a little bit as well. But that is definitely something that I really like, and I can't wait to see how that system works. I wonder if it's going to be too overpowering where you have to pretty much like micromanage every player. We'll see. But the second thing I want to talk about here is the option game. So obviously the option is a big part of college. Let's just talk about that here. The option is a fundamental part of college football, and we've made a thorough effort to add authenticity, depth, and balance. The first thing we targeted was to make the mechanic mirror the real-life quarterback and running back exchange. In an actual game, the quarterback places the ball in the running back's belly with the intent he's going to hand it off. However, if the read comes down and he pulls the ball, this is now replicated in the game with an A or X functioning as a pull or keep button. So if you remember back on NCAA 14, obviously, you needed to hold A to hand the ball off, but now you actually hold A to keep the ball. It, like they said, mimics real life. And then if there's an RPO action and you need to throw the ball to whatever icon you have to throw it to, you hit that button. But now it's going to be a little bit of adjustment, especially if you've been playing these games for so long. It's not A to hand the ball off. It's actually A to keep the ball. It's a pretty small adjustment, but obviously you're going to have to get used to it. And hopefully they actually change it that way in Madden too, so that they are in unison, but it definitely just makes a whole lot of sense. So the third thing they really highlighted here that I want to talk about is abilities. Maybe my favorite thing that they are adding to this game. Let's just read what they briefly talked about, and then we're going to go into detail. In College Football 25, we are introducing 80 abilities, the majority of which are completely new to the football gaming space. These abilities are purely situational boosts, and there are no guarantees. Abilities are categorized into two groups, physical and mental. Each of these groups is further divided into 4 tiers: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. The most a player can have at any given time is 5 physical and 3 mental abilities. Our aim is to provide players with increasing depth as they progress through these tiers. For instance, consider our new Grip Breaker ability under the physical category. This ability bolsters a defender's capability to disengage from a block. At the bronze and silver tiers, this ability is only applicable during run plays. However, at the gold and platinum levels, it also applies to pass plays, with its effects significantly amplified. Another important note to make here is that the abilities a player can have is solely determined by their archetype. Mental abilities, on the other hand, are dictated by the position of the player. So, a lot to dive in here. So, there's going to be 80 total abilities. Obviously, maybe, I don't know, half of them will be physical, half of them will be mental. The mental abilities will be based on their position. So let's just say a quarterback has an ability which makes it so that crowd noise doesn't affect pre-snap decisions, or at least pre-snap looks. It allows them to determine whether or not maybe icons disappear. It determines whether you can call a certain audible, all those type of things. Like that type of ability would be mental. Physical would be, hey, is your running back how is he going to react to hits? Is he going to be a bell cow or a workhorse to take a lot of hits? Or is he going to be somebody that's more of a scat back and maybe can't take as many hits? So what I want to do is talk about a couple of these screenshots that EA put in the article. And this is one that pretty much shows 4 different abilities here. So first, we have a mental ability for Field General. So as you can see, there are 4 tiers: the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. At the bronze level for Field General, you can identify blitzers post-snap. And then for silver, you can identify blitzers pre-snap. So all of these abilities have just a little bit of difference between each tier. I actually like this a lot because if you're a bronze versus a silver, especially for this one, it kind of shows you and allows you to see blitzers post-snap and pre-snap, which is a big difference. But obviously, I wonder how that's going to work on, let's just say, Heisman level difficulty, because, you know, if I'm playing on Heisman, I want it to be a little more challenging. So I wonder if some of these abilities are just going to be not as effective on those higher difficulties. That's something to keep in mind as well. Going to the next ability here in this screenshot, Option King. Physical ability, this one is, and the next 3 are a slight accuracy increase on quick pitches, which we will talk about the option game and the updates to that in a little bit later. But looking at Platinum, ultimate speed, accuracy increase on pitches, and wear and tear protection on option plays. So as you get to the gold and platinum level, it sounds like for this ability, when you get hit, it's not going to affect you as much in the wear and tear system. Maybe that means it won't affect you at all if you get hit. I'm not sure, but at least it's going to have some type of protection on those option plays. Maybe it's minimal, maybe it's not at all. I'm not exactly sure, but it sounds like obviously the higher the badge, the more effective that it is. Workhorse is probably the best example of a badge here. So bronze, at the bronze level, slight protection from wear and tear effects when colliding with other players. But then when you go to the platinum level, ultimate protection from wear and tear effects when colliding with other players. So this pretty much, I think, means that when you are a bell cow running back or a workhorse running back, you can get those 20 to 30 carries a game and not have to really worry about the risk of injury. You're just a workhorse. But if you have maybe a bronze level, or maybe not even any level badge, your wear and tear is going to be affected by how many carries you get. Now, I do wonder, because at the smaller schools, when you are rebuilding some of these smaller schools, I'm just bringing this into Dynasty, if your player does not have this badge, how many carries can they get a game then? Because it sounds like you won't be able to get them, 30 carries, even if they weren't a workhorse, because they're just going to be worn down. Or maybe you can, but at the end of the game, they are just going to be so beat up that they won't recover. And we're going to talk about recovery in a little bit. But it's just something to keep your eye on, especially when building up recruiting and your roster. You definitely want to make sure that, all these things are paid attention to. And then the last ability here on this list, downhill. Bronze is slightly more broken tackles after reaching max speed. And then platinum, if you go all the way across here, ultimate ability to break tackles after reaching 80% of max speed. So it sounds like, if you're a platinum downhill runner, you're going to be breaking a lot of tackles, especially at full speed. And it says even 80% of the max speed. So, once you hit that second or third level and you're probably already at max speed, maybe, if you're like a running back from Alabama or one of those SEC, downhill runner type schools, I mean, this is the best badge probably you can have, especially if you're good at running the football. It's going to be interesting to see how overpowered some of these are, because I can definitely see a system where, you're playing as, let's just say, Miami of Ohio. Maybe Miami, Ohio isn't a great example, but Akron, for example, playing against a Ohio State. I mean, I could see these badges really, really dictating the outcome of the game. Like, I don't know how much of a chance you're going to have if you have a smaller school with little badges against all these gold and platinum schools with a lot of badges. So that's going to be interesting how they kind of balance that out. But I want to talk about this just a little bit more, because this is probably the biggest feature that they've had here. And I want to look at these screenshots with Travis Hunter. So I don't know if these are the real-time badges that he's going to have in the game, but these are examples. So here in this screenshot, he has 5 mental badges and 5 physical badges. Let's go over the mental ones here. Fan favorite, increased composure gains at home. Best friend, quarterback composure gain on first down catch, and then clear-headed protection from composure loss. So it sounds like a lot of the mental things are definitely composure based. And you can see right here, Travis Hunter has a gold fan favorite, which is pretty much an increase in composure at home. That's a great skill to have, because that can basically dictate whether or not your team is going to play well at home versus away. And then this best friend badge is really, really cool, because obviously if you are a favorite target of the quarterback, you're going to get a composure boost, especially when moving the chains. That is a pretty awesome skill there. So now going over to his physical abilities now. He has 5. Sure hands, improved standard catches. It looks like that's a silver. 50-50, improved jump ball ability. That's a silver. Double dip, improved double move routes. That's a gold. And it even tells you what the platinum requirement is right below that. 95 deep route, and he's currently at a 91 deep route. And then layout, improved dive catches, and then recoup, improved fatigue recovery. Now, I like all of these. My question is, on the gold badge there, double dip, it shows what the requirement is to get to a platinum. I wonder if they're going to add that in so that it shows a requirement for every single badge. So like it basically says, for sure hands, it's going to take, 85 catching to get to a gold, or 90 catching to get to a gold. I'm guessing it's going to be 90, to be honest with you. But that's kind of my question here. I love this because it basically allows you to build basically a player, kind of like NBA 2K. But just think about doing that across an entire roster of 80 guys. I mean, it's going to allow every player to kind of have their own unique feel and to kind of have their own game to them. I think this is just a home run, in my opinion, and it just shows that they paid a lot of attention during the development of this game, and it kind of shows why it took 3-4 years for this thing to get off the ground. Okay, we're finally on to number 4. That was a lot. Composure. Now, we just saw the abilities for Composure from Travis Hunter, but let's just read a little bit from the article. In College Football 25, the game isn't only about who has the most skilled players on the field. It's also about who can maintain their composure in high-pressure situations. Confidence in Composure is about moment-to-moment gameplay, reflecting the real-life ups and downs and of these student athletes as each play unfolds. Just like we see on Saturdays, players can get hot or cold depending on the outcome of each play. Experience plays a critical role in confidence and composure. A freshman will have more volatile swings compared to a seasoned senior. As the crowd level increases, the effect on players' confidence increases progressively. This emphasizes the importance of composure in the digital gridiron, making it a crucial factor to consider for every play and every game. Here's some more here from the article. It's important to note that Composure is highly individualized, driven by a player's archetype. For instance, when your player starts to cook, a scrambling quarterback will have improved ball security, while a field general will benefit from improved throw accuracy. Additionally, players can have unique mental abilities that influence their composure. These abilities can affect their teammates for that position group. Consider the Legion ability, which increases the confidence of each defensive back when that player gets an interception. Take note, these mental abilities are lost anytime a player goes cold, making the management of confidence and composure even more essential. So there is a lot to unpack here, and it's amazing. Like, this is probably better than what I expected going into this game, to be honest with you, because now that we see the impact that badges or abilities have on players, it affects composure. That Legion ability they just talked about is a great example, because now the Legion of Boom. I mean, just think about it. If a player makes a great defensive play, and this is a defense that's predicated off of a lot of those composure elements and those confidence elements, now you can really create a defense that is dominating and stifling. Once they make one play, it's tough to get anything on them. And I like that, because in college football, there's such a variance. There's such a difference between the best schools and the worst schools. And now we'll be able to see that on the field. It's just going to be interesting to see all this unfold. I can't wait. And I think it just makes Dynasty a whole lot deeper too. Now, they did talk about in the article that they're going to go over how to accrue badges or accrue abilities in Dynasty. So that will probably come at a later date, but it's definitely going to affect how you build a school. You're definitely going to want to build your school and program up a different way every single time. Like, maybe one year you find out that you want a bunch of guys that have physical abilities, but then you find out that, okay, those physical abilities are good, but they're never composed. Like, one bad play and everything unravels. You're going to need to develop those, mental abilities to affect composure. It's going to be pretty cool. Okay, already on to number 5 here. Pre-snap and coach vision. So this was something that they highlighted here in the article, and they talked about a couple of things here, and we're going to go over some screenshots here, and just to see what you can see at least in this new view. And this is pretty much pre-snap coach vision. So looking at this LSU screenshot, you can see here we have the right stick and the left stick. So on the right stick, you have composure. You can look at blocking. You can look at matchups. And you can also look at wear and tear. And then be able to filter that by position. So on the left stick, you have D-line, linebackers and DBs, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight end, and then O-line. So it looks like you'll be able to see both of them. I'm not exactly sure because right now it looks like in the screenshot the right stick is flipped up and I can only see the offensive composure, but I cannot see the defensive composure. So it does say D-line there. So I'm wondering if you just won't be able to do it when you're playing an opposing team, because I wouldn't want to like see the other team's composure and all that. It's like a strategy thing. And then looking at the Oklahoma State one, you can just see here, you can filter it by position group here and look at the abilities of the offensive players. And looking at the the receiver on the way right side, no abilities. The quarterback has one ability. The running back has a whole lot of abilities. The two receivers to the left, the slot receiver has two abilities, and he also has the star under him. And then the outside receiver on the left looks like two abilities. One is gold and one is silver. So, and then there's offensive lineman as well. I missed that. That has, I believe that's an offensive lineman. I'm not exactly sure. No, it's not. It's just a quarterback. But still, pretty cool to see this on the field. You can see what players' abilities are, and obviously you won't know what they are probably by looking at it here, but it's pretty cool to see that at least in the game. Okay, number 6, going through this long gameplay list, home field advantage. They had to hit on this, to be honest with you. Like, this was an absolute necessity. So let's just read that article really quick. Firstly, we aim to pay off and differentiate the top environments in college football. This differentiation involved two core elements: audio and in-game modifiers. Modifiers are effects that disrupt your gameplay, both pre-snap and post-snap. For instance, you might experience squiggly lines, play art appearing incorrectly, audibles and hot routes failing to register at higher rates, or receiver icons fading in and out during a crucial moment of your game. Just continuing here, because this is the big one. In addition, we decided to pay homage to the classic 06 version of the game by reintroducing a similar screen shake stadium pulse meter and allowing you to tell the crowd to get louder by flicking up the right stick. Our audio team really helped bring home field advantage to life with their new stadium mixes. This nostalgic feature not only adds a touch of authenticity, but it also intensifies the moment, making you feel right in the heart of the action. This is amazing. Obviously, we all wanted this to be in the game, but it is amazing that it's there. I love that. And especially at the, smaller schools, you see here in this video here, Sam Houston cannot get their stadium pulse as high as what we saw at Michigan or even UTEP. You see each school at each level, maybe, UTEP is a little bit bigger than Sam Houston right now as far as college football goes. They can get a little bit louder, and then obviously at the big house, it's going to be really, really loud. So that is definitely a welcoming feature and something they had back in 06. So I'm glad it is in the new game as well. So number 7 on my list here, the revamped passing system. This is an interesting one because they made updates to this, and let's just talk about this. To accomplish this, we increased the variance of left stick pass lead intent, changed our inaccuracy miss locations, and overhauled our passing trajectories. The biggest change you will feel immediately is how we evolved the concept of throw power. Now, throw power doesn't simply refer to the distance to throw, but how hard you can throw it. You often hear color commentators discussing quarterback's arm strength in the context of 10 to 15-yard bullets on hook and dig routes rather than 60-plus yard throws. On the start of a pass, you will notice 3 colors: blue, yellow, and red. The sizes of these sections depend on your quarterback's attributes, abilities, the throw distance, and other factors that impact accuracy, such as being pressured, back foot, or on the run, etc. Landing in the blue increases the chances of a safe, accurate ball, while landing in the yellow could mean more uncertainty from your ideal target. Red indicates potential inaccuracy. The longer you stay in the red, the greater the penalty. Keep in mind that not all red sections are equal. Quarterbacks with weaker arms or low accuracy ratings will have larger red sections. No different from real life. Trying to push the ball downfield consistently with a quarterback who has a weak arm is not a great move. Okay, so this is interesting because I think this is probably a setting that you will be able to probably turn off. It sounds like more of like a timing type of thing. And I think that if you're more of a sim type player, you just want the game to dictate based on, composure and momentum, how accurate a throw is. But it sounds like here that it's going to be kind of more of like a meter or a, target based system where you're trying to land in a certain goal, whether it's blue, yellow, or red, and then try to land in those. And I don't necessarily think I will use something like this based on just being a sim type of franchise, dynasty type of guy. I would want the ratings of the player, whether that's the composure and the badges and all that stuff, to kind of work to make it, reflect how he would throw in real life. I don't want to have that type of influence, but if you do, this is a cool feature for you. But I think this is more of a preference thing, and I'm sure there will be an ability to turn this off. And if there's not, I will be surprised. So that is a pretty good feature though. I like it a lot. Just probably not something I would use in sim. Okay, number 8. And this is for all those competitive online guys, even if you're offline and you want to have influence over the gameplay. It's the new Switch Stick. Now, let's just talk about this Switch Stick. So, obviously, you guys know when the pass is in the air playing the old NCAA footballs or the old Maddens, the ability to change a player only occurs after the ball is thrown. But now you have that ability pre-snap. So, now you can flick the right stick in whatever direction based on the guy you're controlling, not pre-snap, but before the quarterback releases the ball, and you will be able to make a play on the ball and be able to make the movements before the ball is in the air to make the play, which is a pretty cool feature, to be honest. I gotta say though, there are probably going to be so many mistakes by so many users trying to do this before the ball is thrown, and then when the ball is in the air, it's going to revert back to the hit stick. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen quite a bit. Like, you're going to accidentally hit stick when you're only trying to switch. I could see it happening, and I've already seen in this article that they said, don't worry, when the ball is in the air, it switches back to the hit stick. So that is my only concern with this. Like, it is a cool feature, yes, but you have to be good at it in order to use it. Otherwise, the game's gonna make you pay. So it's a cool feature. I do like it, but you gotta watch out for it. Okay, number 9, real-time coaching. Now this is a lot here, and I'm gonna combine this a little bit with playbooks, because we do have obviously new playbooks. It's a brand new game, but we're gonna go into real-time coaching because a big thing with just AI in general with video games, especially in football, is that AI doesn't make adjustments to what you're doing. So let's just say you're running inside zone for all of the game. The AI isn't going to throw in 5 down linemen or 4 down linemen. They're pretty much just going to keep doing what they've been doing, maybe switching a couple of play calls, but the formations are pretty much going to be the same. But now it looks like now CPU, the real-time coaching, will adjust to what you are doing. And it says that the AI will now start to add QB contains, run commits, showing blitz, using shade techniques, using disguise coverages, all that type of stuff, depending on what play call you are using. Obviously, you're playing against the AI. They know what play you're picking, but it's nice to know that the defense is going to adjust to what you're doing. So you're not going to be able to run the same play. You're not going to be able to do 4 verticals all the time. Like, a lot of people would take advantage of NCAA 14 and college football revamped because you could just keep doing it. It was just an overpowered play. But now it sounds like the AI will adjust to you. So if you're doing that play and they know you're doing it a lot, they're going to shade to that side of the field and make sure you don't throw to that target. Now, I wonder how this is going to work, especially for guys you like to target a lot in the passing game, because they talked about it in the article. Here it is. Furthermore, the AI is designed to be aware of your player's ratings and abilities. If you have an elite wide out, some teams might double him from the jump or match him with their top cornerback. This is an example of the best on best matchup strategy enabled by the RTC, which is real-time coaching. So it does sound like they will make adjustments pre-game, going into a game with you, knowing that maybe you have a really good receiver. They will match up their best cornerback. Now, I wonder if this is only going to be designed based on player ratings and abilities, because I want to give you an example. What if I have like a Cooper Kupp on my team that is a great slot receiver, but he's only 74 overall. He's not the highest overall guy on the team, but he just gets it done. Now, will the AI be able to detect going into the game that, hey, he's the most targeted receiver, we're going to shade to his side or make sure we play bump and run on him, rather than, you know, worrying about the 89 overall receiver who doesn't have as many targets, doesn't have as many catches. I wonder how that's going to adjust. That's my only thing with it. I wonder if it's going to adjust either in game when that scenario comes up, or, you know, whether they're actually going to implement that like right away. They're going to try to take out your best player, and not necessarily your best player overall, but your best used player. So going on to the next point, and like I said, go check out the article. There is a lot more here, and I'm going to talk about the 10th and final thing before getting into some miscellaneous things they covered. The new kicking meter. Now, if you look at this little video here, it's kind of a snippet of the kick meter. This is USC versus Notre Dame. You can kind of see that the kick meter has a left or right little button that goes across. You have to nail it in the beginning, in the middle of wherever your target is, and then you have to adjust the fill meter on the arrow to designate how much power you want. So it's like a two-step process. You have to first get the accuracy and then get the power. So I actually kind of like it because I do want there to be a challenge in kicking. Obviously, college kickers aren't the best kickers. They're not professional. I want there to be a difficulty in this. And I wonder what difficulty this right here is on, because you can see the meter's moving at a decent speed, but not fast enough where you're like, you don't know what to do. I wonder how fast that would go on Madden, but I really, really like this because I love that it's going to be difficult to kick kicks, and that's the one thing that, you know, pretty much in NCAA 14, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to make every kick if you have a guy with a good leg. Like, accuracy did not matter at all. So I'm assuming that kick accuracy will also affect the speed of the meter and then the speed that it fills up. So that's pretty cool to see that in the game in this video. So like I said, go check out the article. It's very long and it's a good read. Make sure you check out all of it. I did not cover it here. I just covered out, you know, cover the top 10 things, but there's some miscellaneous things that I did miss in the top 10. There is a new tempo. So now there is no huddle and turbo options. So the no huddle looks like right now it's just the no huddle that we're used to. So basically, you know, you are running a no huddle system. You can call your play in between plays and kind of run a no huddle. But turbo is just like an absolute speed to the line. So I believe what that is basically when you call your play, everybody's rushing to the line and you try to get the snap off really quickly. And then on the next play, you know, it's another no huddle. Everybody's hurrying to the line to get the next play off. Like, there's no time in between the next play call. You're just trying to get play after play after play after play. Think of like those Chip Kelly old offenses and all that. I think that they're trying to mimic that in the game, which is pretty cool. But you can definitely hurt yourself by running those turbo tempos, because the wear and tear system, you might be putting your guys in jeopardy, especially if they are already banged up. Another thing I want to talk about here is new lineman mechanics. There are new lineman mechanics in the game that you do want to kind of check out. There's new animations, and I hope that they're different than Madden, but I'm hoping that the badges and all of that will affect that. But they definitely tried to introduce some new schemes in college football, some schemes that are different from the pros. They did talk about it in the article, so go check that out. And the last little bit I want to highlight here are weather effects. So now, based on the weather, this was something that wasn't really in the game besides the wind blowing, but now the weather will also affect wobbly passes, will affect accuracy, will affect fumbles, and also kick accuracy and power. So remember back on the old games at NCAA 14, for example, if it was a very windy day, obviously the ball is going to be blown from left to right or right to left, or come up short or push you a couple of yards further. But now it sounds like, based on weather effects, whether or not there's wind or not, the kick accuracy and power will be reflected. If you played like a snow game back on NCAA 14, there was no difference in kick power. None at all. Like, you would be able to kick a 50-yarder just as if it wasn't snowing. But now in this game, now if it's snowing, the kick accuracy and power will decrease. So now you will definitely feel the elements, and that also applies to running the football. Your players are going to be a little slower, and then your pass accuracy, when it's raining, it's going to be a wet football, it's going to be wobbly passes. Things like that will be in the game. So that is going to conclude the very long 10, my at least top 10 things that was talked about in the gameplay video. And go look at the gameplay trailer and read the deep dive on gameplay. There's a lot there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Can't wait to see what you guys are saying in the comment section. Let me know. Hit subscribe and hit that like button. Stay tuned for more College Football 25 news as it comes out. I will try to get that out to you. Have a great day.